Hey everyone, it's Alex again, and I am back with another video update for the 88th Academy Awards, this time concerning the Best Documentary Feature category. Today I'm going to reveal the list of films that have been submitted for consideration, as well as some of the rules that these films must follow in order to have been considered in the first place. Like the Best Foreign Language Film category, the Academy has very strict rules and regulations about how a film can be submitted for consideration, and if those rules are not followed, then the film is ineligible. So here are some of the rules, and I've taken this straight from the Academy website, about what a documentary feature must do in order to qualify. One of the biggest rules is running time. The film must be at least 40 minutes long in order to be eligible. If it's below 40 minutes, then it'd be eligible as a short, not a feature-length documentary. The film must have a 7-day theatrical release in both Los Angeles and New York. And if they do one city, but not both, then they are disqualified. And the film must be presented in either 35 or 70 millimeter film, or 24 by 48 frames per second, if presented digitally. And this is how the film must be advertised and reviewed. And I'm going to read this directly verbatim. Screenings during the theatrical release must occur at least 4 times daily and must begin between noon and 10 p.m., with at least one screening beginning daily between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. The motion picture must be exhibited for paid admission and must be advertised during each of its qualifying theatrical releases in at least one of these major newspapers in each city: the New York Times, Time Out New York, or the Village Voice for New York City, the Los Angeles Times, or LA Weekly for Los Angeles. The film must have a movie critic review in either the New York Times and or the Los Angeles Times. A television critic review will not be accepted. Advertisements must have minimum dimensions of 1 inch by 2 inches and must include the theater, film title, and the dates and screening times of the qualifying exhibitions. Advertising must begin on the first day of the theatrical release. And also here's only individual documentary works are eligible. This excludes from consideration episodes extracted from a larger series, segments taken from a single composite program, and alternate versions of ineligible works. And a big rule here, and this is highlighted in bold by the way, films that in any version receive a non-theatrical public exhibition or distribution before their first qualifying theatrical release will not be eligible for Academy Award consideration. So what that means is, if a film plays on TV before it plays in theaters, then it's ineligible for consideration. There's no rule saying that a documentary cannot be shown on both the big screen and the small screen, but the big screen must come first. A perfect example is Citizen 4, that Edward Snowden documentary which won the Best Documentary Feature category earlier this year. It played in theaters, and it actually played like the 2 art house theaters in my area, so that it could qualify for Oscar consideration. And then, after it played on the big screen, it went over to the small screen on HBO and played there. And unlike the Best Foreign Language Film category, which requires members of various branches to form a committee and watch the movies, the documentaries will be viewed by members of the documentary branch of the Academy. They'll be the ones to split into groups, watch all the movies, whittle it down to 15 semifinalists, and then pick the 5 final nominees. And then once the official nominations come out, then the entire Academy membership can vote on the winner. And then also finally, the documentaries submitted in this category may also qualify for other awards in other categories if they meet the specified requirements. So a documentary can compete in the Best Picture race as well if it follows the rules in that category. And it can compete in editing, cinematography, etc., as long as it follows the rules in those categories. An Inconvenient Truth several years ago, which won the Best Documentary Feature Oscar, also won an Oscar for Best Original Song because it was able to follow the rules in that category to make itself eligible, and it ended up winning in both of those categories. So, now it comes the time to reveal the 124 lucky films that have been selected by the Academy to compete for the honor of a nomination. And I'm going to go over the list real quickly, as fast as I can, and then I am going to talk briefly about some of the documentaries I am most familiar with, that I've heard about through Facebook or Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb, or any outlet that covers movie making. So here we go. I'm going to list these in alphabetical order. The lucky films are Above and Beyond, All Things Must Pass, Amy, The Armor of Light, Ballet 422, Bat Kid Begins, Becoming Bulletproof, Being Evil, Beltraki, The Art of Forgery, Best of Enemies, The Black Panthers, Vanguard of the Revolution, Bolshoi Babylon, Brand, A Second Coming, A Brave Heart, The Lizzie Velasquez Story, Call Me Lucky, Cartel Land, Censored Voices, Champs, Code Girl, Coming Home, Dark Horse, Deli Man, Dior and I, The Diplomat, Dishonesty, The Truth About Lies, Don't Think I've Forgotten, Cambodia's Lost Rock and Roll, Dreamcatcher, Dream Killer, Drunk, Stoned, Brilliant Dead, The Story of the National Lampoon, Eating Happiness, Every Last Child, Evidence of Harm, Farewell to Hollywood, Finders Keepers, The Forecaster, Frame by Frame, Gardeners of Eden, A Gay Girl in Damascus, The Amina Profile, Godspeed, The Story of Paige Jones, Going Clear, Scientology and the Prison of Belief, He Named Me Malala, Heart of a Dog, Hitchcock Truffaut, How to Change the World, Human, The Hunting Ground, I Am Chris Farley, In Jackson Heights, In My Father's House, India's Daughter, Ingrid Bergman in Her Own Words, Iraqi Odyssey, Iris, Janice Little Girl Blue, Karski and the Lords of Humanity, Killing Them Safely, Kurt Cobain Montage of Heck, Lambert and Stamp, A Lego Brickumentary, Listen to Me Marlin, Live from New York, The Look of Silence, Meet the Patels, Maru, The Mind of Mark DeFriest, Misery Loves Comedy, Monkey Kingdom, A Murder in the Park, My Italian Secret, My Voice, My Life, The Neo-Realism We Were Not Just Bicycle Thieves, 1971, Of Men in War, One Cut, One Life, Only the Dead See the End of War, The Outrageous Sophie Tucker, Peace Officer, The Pearl Button, Pink and Blue Colors of Hereditary Cancer, Poached, Polyfaces, The Prime Ministers, Soldiers and Peacemakers, Prophet's Prey, Racing Extinction, The Resurrection of Jake the Snake, Ride the Thunder, A Vietnam War Story of Victory and Betrayal, Rosenwald, The Russian Woodpecker, Searching for Home, Coming Back from War, Seeds of Time, Sembean, The 7-5, Seymour, An Introduction, Sherpa, A Sinner in Mecca, Something Better to Come, Song from the Forest, Song of Lahore, Steve Jobs, The Man in the Machine, Steve McQueen, The Man in Le Mans, Stray Dog, Sunshine Superman, Sweet Mickey for President, Tab Hunter Confidential, The Tainted Veil, Tap World, Terror, Tao's Library, Those Who Feel the Fire Burning, 3.5 Minutes, 10 Bullets, The Touch of an Angel, Trans Fatty Lives, The True Cost, Twinsters, Very Semi-Serious, a partially thorough portrait of New Yorker cartoonists, The Wanted 18, We Are Many, We Come as Friends, Welcome to Lathe, What Happened, Miss Simone, What Our Fathers Did, A Nazi Legacy, Where to Invade Next, Winter on Fire, Ukraine's Fight for Freedom, and The Wolf Pack. Alright, so the documentaries with which I am familiar with from this list. Amy, that's been getting a lot of great buzz. It played in theaters during the summer. I sadly did not get to see it. I was very busy with my job, or jobs, because I had 2 jobs during the summer. But I heard excellent things about it, and I would not be surprised if it's nominated. I think it has a very strong chance, and if it is, I will definitely check it out on DVD or on Netflix if it drops there. Bat Kid Begins, I've heard a lot about. It's about that little boy who had leukemia, and the Make-A-Wish Foundation, as they do with lots of cancer kids, offered to grant him a wish of whatever he wanted, no matter how big it was. And his wish was to be Batman for a day. So, and then they turned the whole city of San Francisco into Gotham, and he got to dress up in a little Batman costume and got to, stop criminals. Of course, it was all pretend, but, they staged it really well, and, he had a good time, and the whole world, fell in love with this story because it exploded on the news and on social media, and even President Obama commented on this. One of those really heartwarming stories that, gave you a lot of faith in humanity, in a time where most of the news stories you hear are about how we're pretty much destroying ourselves with everything we do. But this is like that one time where we all came together for one great cause to help one amazing little person. And of course, the kid Miles Scott, I believe his name is, he's now all better. His leukemia is in remission, so all is well with him and his family. If it does get nominated, I will check that one out as well. Let me see. Oh yes, this next one is definitely, I think, it's going to be very controversial, but I think it could get into the race. It's called Going Clear: Scientology in the Prison of Belief. Basically, it's about former Scientologists exposing the truth about Scientology and all the crazy stuff they had to do as members. I think it primarily follows Paul Haggis, a writer-director who was a member of Scientology for like 35 years, but then once he left the church, he became one of its harshest critics. He Named Me Malala, that's been playing in my area. It's about Malala Yousafzai, that girl from Pakistan who is an education activist, because, sadly in the Middle East, a lot of young girls never get the chance to go to school, and she almost was killed by the Taliban for her efforts to bring awareness to this issue, so much so that they had to flee Pakistan, she and her family, so that she could live in safety. But last year she became the youngest person to ever win the Nobel Peace Prize. She's only like 17 or 18, so good for her. I Am Chris Farley, I've heard stuff about that. It's basically all about Chris Farley, his time on Saturday Night Live, his problems with drug abuse that led to him dying at such a young age. A Lego brickumentary I've heard about. It's basically a documentary talking about Lego fans and why they love Legos so much. I don't know if that's going to get a nomination, but we'll see. It's probably a very interesting film worth looking at, especially considering the huge success of the Lego movie last year. Listen to Me, Marlon, I've heard a lot of great things about. Basically, it's about Marlon Brando in his own words. I guess he made all these audio tapes of himself where he talked about everything from acting to just anything on his mind. Monkey Kingdom I actually did see. That's the latest Disney nature film about monkeys. Tina Fey served as the narrator. It's about like this mother monkey who's like at the very bottom of the social ladder in her community, and like the father of her baby was driven off by another male because of some rivalry, so she has to raise her baby all by herself, while at the same time dealing with all the other monkeys who are higher up on the social ladder for her and kind of make her life a living hell. And then there's like a rival group of monkeys that want their territory. I thought Tina Fey did a good job narrating, and those monkeys are quite something. We often forget just how smart of an animal a monkey is. We often associate monkeys with just pure mischief. But of course, as scientists will tell you, monkeys are some of the closest animal relatives to humans. I think there's only like a 2% difference between human DNA and monkey DNA. So if you haven't seen Monkey Kingdom, I do recommend you check it out. If you love Disney, if you love you know, Animal Planet or the Discovery Channel or National Geographic, this is like a match made in heaven for you. So check it out if you can. Let's see. I've heard about The Russian Woodpecker. It's a film about the Chernobyl incident or the aftermath of it. If you fell asleep in history class, Chernobyl is reference to the nuclear power plant in Ukraine, which experienced a devastating meltdown in 1986 when one of its reactors exploded and spewed tons and tons of radiation into the atmosphere that like spread all over Europe. And it's considered to be the worst man-made disaster in human history. And of course, several people died during the incident, and several people became doused with so much radiation that they experienced several physical and psychological problems for the rest of their lives, or many of them are continuing to experience those problems. Several children who were born to either women pregnant during the time or born to women years afterward were born with like a lot of severe birth defects. And of course, the region where Chernobyl was located, particularly the neighboring city of Pripyat, where the factory workers and their families lived, they're still today totally abandoned. All the apartment buildings, schools, grocery stores, hotels that are still there look exactly the same as they did in 1986. Except, of course, there's rubble everywhere. There's, trees growing there where these buildings are. It literally is a ghost town because there is literally nothing there. And there's a good reason for that, because the radiation levels are still too dangerous for anyone to actually live there. And I wouldn't be surprised in the future if there's a law created that forbids people from ever living there again, because they want to leave it behind in its empty state to serve as a reminder of what can happen in a dangerous nuclear accident like this one. Steve Jobs, the Man in the Machine. Pretty straightforward. It's about Steve Jobs, and it's just a look at his life. And then finally, What Our Fathers Did: A Nazi Legacy. I've heard about that. It's basically about these two men who each of them were the sons of Nazi officers, and they talk about how that has affected them throughout their lives. That looks like a very interesting film. If that comes to my area, or if it gets nominated, I'll definitely check that out. As to what will actually win, that's an open game right now. Right now, I think the two frontrunners are probably Amy and Going Clear, Scientology, and the Prison of Belief. The second one will be a very interesting one to see win, because there are many Scientologists who are confirmed Oscar voters, particularly Tom Cruise, John Travolta, and Kirstie Alley, who are like the three biggest celebrity Scientologists out there. Obviously, I don't expect them to vote for this to win, but if it does get nominated and if it does win, I can only imagine what the Church of Scientology's response will be. It would basically be a giant middle finger to them, because they hold such a large influence over Hollywood, yet this is a documentary in which members of Hollywood are trying to expose it for basically being a creepy cult. So I'll be very interested to see what happens if that should win. Well, that's basically all I have for now. Let me know what you think of the 124 films that are eligible in this category. If you've seen any of them, please comment and let me know what you think of them. Let me know what you think will win. Let me know what you think should win, and just let me know what you think of the Oscar race in general this year so far. Please be sure to comment down below, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.